We have an update on the plans for Roman Reigns after WrestleMania, and are AEW set to sign Bill Goldberg? But first we have an update on the recent lawsuit filed against All Elite Wrestling and one of its wrestlers. In December 2022, Composite Effects LLC would file a suit against AEW and Austin Mattelson, better known as Luchasaurus, claiming that they are using a copyrighted mask design for merchandising purposes without the permission of the designer. The designer stated that Composite Effects LLC owns licensing and design rights for all of their characters, and whilst Mattelson was given permission to use the mask to wrestle, no permission was ever granted to use the design as part of merchandise. At one stage, Composite would create a brand new design with all the relevant merchandising permissions attached, this in August 2021. However, Luchasaurus and AEW president Tony Khan allegedly chose against using it due to the older design looking, quote, too iconic by that point. Well, now that we have the backstory out of the way, let's get to the latest update, as according to WrestleNomics, AEW have moved to dismiss 5 of the 6 counts raised by Composite, with the report noting, AEW moved today to dismiss 5 of the 6 counts raised by Composite Effects. AEW's lawyer said the company will answer the remaining count after a decision is made on this motion. AEW argued the 5 counts it says should be dismissed first either fail to make the viable claim or are preempted by the Copyright Act. Later in the day, Composite Effects, CFX, filed a proposed amended complaint alleging Mattelson had another mask maker create a similar design that infringes on their copyright work, which CFX said is a breach of contract. AAA Mega Champion Hijo del Vikingo will make his AEW debut tonight when he takes on Kenny Omega in a long-anticipated matchup. The match was originally planned for December 2021 at Triple Mania with the AAA title on the line, a match which Vikingo was reportedly set to win. This was before Kenny Omega stepped away from wrestling to heal from a number of injuries, with the luchador instead winning the vacant belt that night. Speaking to Justin Barrasso of Sports Illustrated ahead of his AEW debut, Vikingo would give his thoughts on the match and said, "I'm excited to be on television on Dynamite and show my skills to the world. I've wanted this fight for so long. It is an honor to come to AEW and wrestle Kenny. I have a lot of special moves that I want the world to see. Some I've already mastered and I want to show those off, and I want to show off some moves that people have never seen before. I am very nervous. I am coming to Kenny's home in AEW. I am representing Mexico, but those nerves won't get in front of me. It will only add to my excitement and fire. I am fighting for all the luchadors that came before me. I am going to bring that Aztec fighting spirit. This is going to be a fight like you've never seen before." And in related news, AAA booker Conan would take to his Keeping It 100 podcast this week, where he was asked about what the benefits were of working with AEW and Tony Khan, with WWE being perceived as the top promotion in America. Conan would detail his reasons for wanting to work with All Elite Wrestling before letting slip that one of his top stars is set to leave for AEW in the near future, and he would note, "Mexican fans know that WWE is the #1 company, but they also know that AEW has stars, and there are American stars that don't always come to Mexico. Not everybody is going to be a draw, but what you have to do in today's age is, if there is a draw, you obviously put them on the show, and then you want to make the show as attractive as possible. And the only way to make it attractive is a long storyline, or bring in somebody from outside that you usually don't bring, and put them in a match with somebody from AAA that everybody wants to see. Those are the things that come into the thought process. And of course, Tony Khan helps us, because if he wanted to, he could make sure Pentagon and Ray Phoenix don't work in AAA, you know? And there's another person from AAA that's going to be signing there soon." And before we get to the rest of today's stories, be sure to subscribe to WrestlePlanet if you haven't done so already, as we aim to hit 50,000 subscribers by the end of the year. And also head over to WrestlePlanet Gaming if you're into wrestling video games, ahead of the launch of both AEW Fight Forever and WWE 2K23. But with that said, let's get to the rest of the video. With Forbidden Door 2 on the horizon, fans are beginning to speculate on potential matchups between the stars of All Elite Wrestling and New Japan Pro Wrestling. One of the names that many want to see on the show is current IWGP Women's Champion Mercedes Moné, formerly known as Sasha Banks in WWE. This past weekend, Mercedes would appear in a Q&A at Planet Comic Con in Kansas City, where she was asked about her status for the show, to which she responded, "When is it? June? So far, I think I could be open. July might be open, but I gotta get that phone call. Gotta get that phone call from Unk." And speaking of that, AEW President Tony Khan would appear in an interview with Adrian Hernandez last night where he was asked about Monet's comments and the possibility of her taking on one of the stars of AEW at the Forbidden Door. Khan appears open to the idea and he would say, "It's a very encouraging thing to hear and I have so much respect for Mercedes. She is a great pro wrestler and certainly one of the best in the world. Any wrestling company in the world, including AEW, is very fortunate to have Mercedes. Currently she's the world champion for our partner New Japan Pro Wrestling. She's a great champion for them and I'm glad she brought up Forbidden Door because that's going to be a very exciting event. Certainly the shadow of Mercedes is looming large in New Japan Pro Wrestling right now. When AEW and New Japan clash at Forbidden Door, it'll be very interesting to see what happens and certainly she's one of the top stars in New Japan. It makes for a very interesting situation going into Forbidden Door." It's worth noting that a recent report from Wrestling Observer revealed that Mercedes Moné has just one match left on her current Bushiroad deal, which will happen at Stardom's All-Star Grand Queendom on April 23rd at the Yokohama Arena, with the result being a big indication of her future in New Japan. WrestleMania 39 is just over 1 week away, a show that will see undisputed WWE Universal Champion Roman Reigns put his titles on the line against Cody Rhodes in arguably his biggest challenge to date. Many fans anticipate that this could be the moment that the Tribal Chief's 900-day plus reign comes to an end. And with that said, we have an update on what the plans could be for Roman after WrestleMania. WrestleVotes would speak with Give Me Sport this week, with them revealing that Roman could be potentially set to take a break from the business until the summer, and they would say, "I can imagine there's probably a significant break, at least a month, even longer, until there's a major show that requires Roman Reigns. You may not see him until SummerSlam though, he'll be away for a little bit." WWE wanted to make Roman Reigns a major deal, and they did. Now every time you put on a major show, you need your major star. WrestleVotes would then provide a further update to the report on Twitter, noting that Roman will only take time off if he loses the belts, with them writing, "Adding to this, I'm told this is contingent on if/when Reigns eventually loses the titles. As of now, those plans are not certain." Now let's get back to the Tony Khan interview with Adrian Hernandez, where the AEW president was asked about the possibility of Bill Goldberg becoming All Elite. Fightful Select would recently confirm that Goldberg's WWE contract expired at the end of 2022, with no deal being agreed between the two parties, making him a free agent. Khan would have a ton of praise for the former WCW World Champion, a brand that he's of course fond of, before revealing if there is interest in making the signing, and Tony would say, "I have a lot of respect for Bill. I think Bill Goldberg is a great professional athlete and has a great career in pro wrestling and is a very nice person. He actually has a lot of ties around the Jacksonville community. His family is from Jacksonville and they've done so much great work in the community. There is a great hospital, the Wolfson Children's Hospital, and Bill is related to the Wolfson family. They've done so much great work in this community and that's partially how I've gotten to know Bill. He's a household name in pro wrestling and certainly that's interesting to hear that he is a free agent. It's something to follow and he's one of the biggest names in wrestling and will certainly be something else to keep an eye on for us. We have so many great wrestlers in AEW and so many exciting things happening in AEW week to week that it's always an exciting time. Bill is an exceptionally exciting name and one of the biggest names in the sport. Certainly it's a big thing for us to pay attention to. I would take notice of that and it is interesting." And before you go, make sure you check out 10 masked AEW wrestlers Unmasked.